And yes, we are live. I will not ask because now I can see that we are. And when you arrive, I will welcome you warmly. But for now, I will make an operation here. Just the usual. This is our 51. I don't know how to say it in English. Facebook Live in these past couple of months. And as such, it really is quite an achievement for me, making all of these lives daily, almost daily, because I stop for the weekend, yes. But it really is quite an adventure, and it really is a pleasure, really very nice thing to do for me. I really love this opportunity to share some of the ideas, some of the learning, studies, and things that come across my mind, and that then I can put it to your consideration and expect in some way or the other that you can take those to the very best of your choice, putting aside whatever is needed for you to put aside. My commitment is try to be the thing that I bring forth. Really try to walk the talk in terms of whatever idea I may share. And yes, of course, some of those ideas that I believe are useful, but that I feel I don't live, those I deliberately set them aside, because I really believe that if I don't live the idea in some way or the other, that the idea is powerless coming from my speech. Is because what we don't give our life energy to really can't create anything new, and the words become empty. So at least that's my belief. And as a belief it has an effect on reality. So as such, good evening. Thank you very much for your time, attention, energy, whatever is the moment that you will see this live. I don't see anybody here right now, but I will begin nonetheless. The 36 degree purpose Idealist-Realist manifest really amounts to the very simple idea of the purposeful declaration or mission statement. I use the term manifesto because I really prefer to do so, because it really conveys an idea that it really is very keen to my heart, which is the idea of thinking in the most broader, deeper, and complete terms possible, even sacrificing, of course, some speed of utterance, of putting things out there, etc., etc. Because for me, in times like this, because we live in a transition society, the way I see it, even more than just society, we live in a transition civilization, and as such, it is really important that we must find some proper internal ground to make more impact than noise. And in that sense, the most deepest, the most meta, the most fundamental principles, values, tools, systems, methods, practices that we can find, those elements that withstand the test of times and that prevailed across the time spectrum that we live in, those really for me, are the fundamentals, the building blocks of what is to come. Because in nature, there is no such thing as creating in a vacuum, of out of nothing, something happening. That's just an illusion of our perception. We can only create the future with the remains in the present, which of course they arise in our perception of the past, although we can argue that in reality there is no past, there is no future, there is just only here and now, and that's the experiential evidence that we have living here. But in practical terms, we need to have the seeds from the previous harvest, from the previous crop, in order to launch them to the ground and make something grow from there. Yes. Or the gatherings, if you prefer to pick the metaphor from yesterday's live, the gatherings of the last cycle of achievements, of realizations. And even if those past achievements are no longer sustainable, are no longer due to become manifest once again in a new cycle, notwithstanding, they bring us the building blocks for the future into the present, because we can only build into the present with whatever is the legacy, the gifts that in past moments arose from our efforts or from the efforts of others, from the society as a whole, for previous generations, because we humans, we have a really truly edifice of knowledge, of experience, of histories, of assets to be used. They didn't come just from heaven as such. They have their path to be, for us to get a hold on them right now. They come from our fathers, our ancestors, our grandfathers, and so on and so on, and mothers, of course. It's just a figure of speech. And the society as a whole, all the big achievements, they are really cumulative efforts, although they occur in a cyclical sense, of course. I'm talking in cumulative, not in the linear sense of it, but in the cyclical sense of history, which is my perspective. So all of those assets, all of those learnings, all of those gifts are for us to take. And what is our own debt towards our ancestors and towards the following generations? In my perspective, is to take whatever we have received and put our own magic, our own dent, our own fair share of impact, of striving, of creative endeavor for the following generations to benefit from whatever we received, and ideally a plus onto that, or a better, if not a plus in the measurable sense, a betterness in it, to make them easier, their path easier, for them to get their full humanity ever more shining forth, our sons, our daughters, our grandsons and granddaughters, and all the human generations that are to come. Because that's our duty. That's our duty. At the end of the day, no matter what type of path we may find in life, what type of effort we may want to put in this earth, or we feel we are drawn, we are keen to put, at the end really amounts to what is my life worth? What is all these decades of living here in this planet, squeezed and making some lemonade or some other type of juice that you like, Now it's very hot. Lemonade sounds nice. What's left? What's the perfume, the smell, the aroma of our lives? And so, as such, a manifesto as a concept really is a statement of intent that is very purpose driven by nature, because it really guides all the process of livelihood of some sort of expression, may it be personal or organizational, even societal type of expression. And I really believe that for the people who really follow these lives or may follow these lives and that are committed to make the very best of themselves, no matter what type of role or position they may find themselves into these days, we never know the future. And I really, really believe that every single one of us should strive to make an impact, thinking about at least the next possible or plausible level of that impact that our current awareness can grasp. So if I think I want to have an impact in my family, and this is idea that I like so much, I believe I've shared this idea in the past. I don't know if you recall it, Julieta. The idea that if you want to have an impact in your family, you should think about your city. If you want to have an impact in your city, you should think about your state. If you want to have an impact in your state, maybe you should think about your country. And so on, from country to continent, or to federation, if you prefer, another type of organization. And for planet and for galaxy, solar, well, that's the idea behind the purpose ladder levels that I've shared with you. And that's the idea that I really invite you to consider today. The idea of making your own purpose manifesto, not only in the idealistical type of sense, like it would be nice to have, do this and that or that, but how or what paths, what methods, what roles are we willing to participate in shining forth for those to happen? That's simple. That's the realistic type of thing. And I believe that really brings a whole lot of maturity that is very much needed in the self-help personal development space these days, because there are really an excess of kindergarten type of perspectives around what really is participating in this space, like jumping from course to course, or from workshop to workshop, lecture to lecture, and making some things, spending some nice evenings or weekends with colleagues in those types of offer, and making the process a little more entertaining and a little less entrepreneurial, in the sense of really going towards our own manifestations and creations. And I must confess that's one of the things that put me outside many of the self-help current personal development offering choices, in the sense that I really sense too much, it really amounts to too much 5 o'clock tea type of attitude. I don't know if I'm translating it okay. Chá das 5 in Portuguese type of attitude, like just some making some comparing self-help offers like with going to the cinema or going to some other form of entertainment, and that's the thing that, well, I really prefer to do things otherwise, and well, that's the thing. The purpose-driven idealist realist manifest really amounts to trying to go towards a set of ideas that we are willing to put in deliberate practice every single day. It's a statement of commitment. It's like an internal contract with ourselves, and that reveals our own idea around what purpose in our lives is and what purpose ought to be with our sustained commitment and deliberate commitments. The way I translate this manifesto dimension is in having several purposeful personal declarations that I use to guide my own decisions and my choices in life to the very best of my ability, and using those to really shine forth that beacon light that allows me to go towards ever more purposeful manifestations, to putting ever more fair share of effort, and to cast some sort of casting a net, casting my own net of awareness, putting it translated into practice to the very best way possible. For instance, giving a personal example, hoping that you will really decide to build, to write, or to record, or to draw, whatever method that you like, your own manifesto, your own purpose, idealistic, realistic manifesto. Idealistic, putting your own very best aspirations, dreams, and things that make you tickle inside in one hand, coupled with the sustained habit, deliberate practice type of routines, behaviors on the other, coupling those together. So, like I was saying, I had one of my purpose-driven declarations says that we should build, and I will read it because I have that specific declaration written. We built our long arc of purpose into our society. I'm making a parenthesis because it's I'm not giving you the full context. I'm just reading a part because I will not read you the whole thing. We built our long arc defending full institutionalization of the facilitating of discovering, transition, and expression of purpose in people and organizations. We want to achieve it for a relevant group of interventions in Portugal and worldwide. And I'm translating it as I'm reading because it's in Portuguese and it is a little bit different. The thing is, thinking about this, what is the impact that this should have right this moment in the context that I'm living onto the choices that I'm making? And then I made another round. That's the round of how will I contribute to the very best of my ability, to the very best of my perception, to the very best of my energy, time, attention, resources in global terms to making this real right this moment. And then you think, okay, we are at the time we can make several perspectives on that we are in COVID-19 environment these days, that COVID-19 possesses some sort of challenges for our society, beyond all the personal dimensions, of course, me being a father, and a son, and having family, friends, whatever that may be, but going towards something that is common to us all. Thinking about COVID-19 and the challenges that this condition brings us? What is the very best purpose-driven contribution that I can put forth? Not now, but that can last beyond COVID-19. What is the very best opportunity that I can sense or that I can see coming around the corner after this or due to this? And what am I going to do about it? What is the specific steps that I'm going to do? Well, a public step you all are already seeing it is these lives, these translations, and what this type of effort represents for me, not only in terms of the public commons space sharing, because it is public sharing, anybody can access, despite the number of views or the likes or the shares or whatever. This is some sort of a gift that is being made, and picking in the explanation that I've said at the beginning, is this really a gift from Julio? Just for me? Of course not. I believe that I'm very sorry, it's not COVID. I believe not. I believe it's just an allergy or something like that. Because we are having quite a weather here in Portugal these days. But so, like I was saying, is this a gift for Julie? From Julie? These lives, these transitions? Of course not. Look around me. Look all of this. Look this and this and this. Those are. I didn't wrote these books. I didn't get. I was blessed with the opportunity to access these sources and many, many more. And what is my role about my own life experiences, my life histories? I didn't make those all by myself. I really was blessed into having other people, context, environments, even going beyond the material realm, synchronicities, divine plan, whatever we may want to put it, that makes us understand that really our own choice really amounts to something important, for sure, very significant in my perspective, but we create with the help and with the bountiful, with the abundant participation of so many ways and sources and devices and really streams of wealth, of common wealth for us all. And so as such, I'm just putting a context, this type of efforts. But yes, I really believe that in the idealistic type of sense, I can see that I'm not making this alone. In the realistic type of sense, I can see, but I must book it in my agenda at 9 p.m. in order for it to happen. Because if not, chances are that other priorities can mess with all of those ideas, and we all can have a fair share of examples of that happening in our lives. Of course, I have a lot of examples of that happening till this day, in many, many regards, in many, many projects that never left the ground, many ideas that never went to project, many more thoughts that never went into the consideration as ideas, and this, and so on, and so on, and so on. And so, what are the deepest, most striving for attention, intuitions or impulse, gut feelings that you have, and that you can put in a sheet of paper? Can you pick a sheet of paper, or do you have a sheet of paper with you right this moment, and you can think of something that will pop up, and you can write those? After you have a nice set of topics, can you make a statement around the wording that you put into ink and paper, like an idea? And from that statement, can you make that statement into a paragraph? Yes. And then you can revise it. Thank you, Julieta. I believe that bless you was for the sneezing. And can you put those paragraphs for you to contemplate daily in order for you to revise those and to refine them, perfecting them a little bit in order for them to reflect, the most truthful expression of yourself evermore? What are those paragraphs, those ideas that made your soul shine forth the most, that make you get some chills, that make you feel that you are singing your heart's song, like I've heard in a song, a very beautiful song that I've been hearing these days, the song of your heart. I've forgotten the name of the artist. Very beautiful, because it really is the song of your heart, your life purpose. Yes, and purpose in organizations is the song of all of our hearts beating in sync in one way or the other, and sharing that very sacred fabric that makes us into what we are. And can you make it into reality, into a sheet of paper, or into a board, into whatever choice you may want to make in terms of manifestation or recording? Although recording is better for, in my experience, is better for prototyping, is better for experimenting, is better for first time making available for future iterations, for future revisitations and improvements. So as such, I really want to ask you, can you do it? Can you put a sheet of paper in front of writing? Maybe you can write one thing one day. Today you put an alarm clock, or you set it on the agenda. You schedule a block of time, maybe near your journaling, or you decide that, oh, I will put a block of my time, or simply I will set the intention and I'll make myself very, very alert, and then when the intuition comes, I will record it. I will write it or record it in audio, or using the video in the secret group in Facebook that I've shared with you past lives some lives ago. What will it be? What will that energy, what form will that energy manifest itself? And are you willing to put the manifesto labeling onto it? Are you willing to give that type of significance into whatever result you may find suited for you? Are you willing to bear the responsibility of making it so, or starting it so? Are you willing to give yourself the space needed, not to make it into a compulsive, obsessive type of effort, but to letting it mature over time, making it like a Capella Sistina or Sistine Chapel, sorry, in English, let's continue in English, Sistine Chapel type of endeavor, a project that can span years, even more than Sistine Chapel. You can think about Barcelona Cathedral from Gaudi, still yet to be finished, started in the 19th century. That's amazing. That really is amazing. Because it really is a living being. It really is. Our purpose is a living organism. And as such, our manifesto should and can be a living organism. And manifest invites us to have a broader view of life, invites us to have a leadership type of perspective upon our life and upon our context and upon society and our role and our citizenship. And manifesto invites us to have a relationship with leadership always on. And of course, 360 brings that notion of totality, brings that notion of wholeness, of integration, of striving for the creation of a new way of being with the world that really nurtures the divinity inside ourselves. In my perspective, it really nurtures the god and the goddess that we are, and really acknowledges beyond the platitudes, the cliches of some forms of engaging with personal development, really puts us into the driver's seat and really opens the path for continuing to our own rhythm, to our own way of possibilities, to our own path walking, preferred or possible, to continue ever more. So that's the suggestion for today. I confess myself, now I'm going to confess, I was keen to have, and I've drawn the boards with 12 specific topics for a manifesto that I was going to share, but I decided not to do so because I really decided, I really feel that the most valuable thing that I can give to you is the space for you to do your own thing. Of course, I can give you advice. I can suggest some structures from all sorts of manifesto that you can make. But of course, the most simple is go Google it, search some sort of manifesto that you find that really gets you. And then, of course, in terms of the elaboration, the writing, I really recommend that you stick to, at least at the beginning, that you find useful if you are having trouble with having your own voice shine forth, but you really are committed to do so. Why don't you pick an ancient wisdom structure? Why don't you pick an house structure? You can pick some, you can see the areas of life, and then you think for each area. You make a simple wheel of life from coaching, and then you can state what is important, most important for you for that area, and then you're set. And then the wheels of your process are in motion. Yes, a little bit less inspired or less aspiring, but in motion nonetheless. Of course, if you want to put yourself into the mood, then you go to a nice bath, maybe meditation, because you awaken your sensitivity, and then you listen to a beautiful music, and then you go towards beyond that, and you put yourself into a state of blissful possibilities expression, and then you go to the sheet of paper or the block or the decision of, now I'm just waiting, I'm putting myself very, very, very present. Once more, great key, wonderful, the utmost key. And then I will record what comes. I will not censor it, not at the beginning at least. I'm just recording it in a sheet of paper, in a notebook, whatever, in a word processor, in my computer, in an Evernote note, whatever you want, or recording in audio, in an app, in my phone, or whatever. And then I will revisit, and especially in those types of doubts, in those types of, I don't know what to do, maybe I can recall. I will listen to this right now. I will listen to this and I will work on it again, once more. And it really can help you. And I speak from experience, for sure. Because I was incredibly helped by several things that I've done years ago that many years after those things came to me, I've found new life into them. And not only in this type of process, I can recall, of course, books. And I was thinking about a book that was given to me that I only read it 14 years after the book was given to me. A book with Conversas com Agostinho da Silva e Vítor Mendanha. I believe it's the title. And that book, I really believe that that book was given to me without much consideration or without much knowledge from the person who gave the book, and as such I didn't get the vibe of it, or maybe I wasn't ready simply because I received the book. It was too soon for me at the time. But then clearly that thinker Agostinho da Silva rang the bell many years after. And then I went for the book, and then I read the book, and then I said, whoa, what an incredible thinker this guy is. What incredible ideas, and yes, realistic, if we decided that they are real enough for us to take the hold on them. Because they are, in my perspective, they are. Because they are simple. The only caveat, so to speak, is that they demand some sort of commitment, not only personal, but collective, common, and that's the hardest part, apparently, because people can commit in groups, mostly doing things that they already committed in doing so, or that others make them commit to, not arising from their own choice. And so, as such, of course, we are the people who try to think for themselves. Still are a minority, of course. Still, but that is changing. And of course, challenges happen when you try to make that come into life. But those are the things that really change the world, and the history proves it. History shows it every single time that we are propelled forwards. Humanity goes forward by those crazy people, or not so crazy after all, that see things in a way that we can't see them. Yet, at least the majority of the people, because new ideas don't come into a vacuum. Also, please recall the previous idea. And yes, we can reignite the ideas that really matter to our own life, to our own living, our own purpose. And recall this: the statement that says there is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. It really is a wonderful statement, and it really is very truthful in that sense. Yeah, and now I see your comment, Julieta. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. Rumi Pink posted it. Wonderful, wonderful idea, because the humanity is full of rebellions, revolutions that really change very little, not to say anything, in terms of the core essence of what things are, because the people who engaged in doing so didn't change themselves in order for those not to be just ramblings or just noise or just dysfunctional behavior towards changing an apparent status quo from one elite to another. And things went pretty much structurally the same. And of course, that most truth that I see in that comment. If we change ourselves, by definition, the world is changed. How can't by definition the world is changed? If you change yourself, you are part of the world. By definition, a part of the world, even in materialistical terms, is changed. And not in materialistical terms, if you change yourself, you will change the way you engage with the world, and as the world is to you as you are, the world is changed. In any way, changing yourself is the way to go. But Rumi and that's the caveat, and I will challenge Rumi and I will challenge other guys. Yes, I will do it because I'm crazy enough to do so. That in Rumi's time and those ancient sages' time, many of them lived in a time, place, and era not subject to the velocity of change that we live today. And as such, things were in a very, 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 very slower pace that we have today, and the set of impacts that a human being can have all around were much more constrained in that sense. So this type of making the contradiction type of perspective, this type of affirmation or quotation can only be used to project responsibility to the individual in times or in places or in roles in which the responsibility is common, is from not the individual, is from the community. And of course, we relinquished as society a set of personal responsibilities onto a group of people that we call politicians, or that we call company leaders, or other roles with public impact. And for sure, that's the paradox. How do we really implement a culture of personal accountability, responsibility, stressing the impact of the individual in one side, and then the other, acknowledge the impact of the models, the systems, the process that are all pervasive and common to every human being into a given set of circumstances, may it be the family, may it be the society, the municipality, may it be the company, may it be the country. Am I getting my point clear? I really, really think that we are bound to an irrevocably cause and effect, very karma yoga individual type of perspective that I do my best with whatever I get, and I will accept it and I will recognize it, and then I can relinquish control and do the very best in one way, and the other, I fully acknowledge that I will and I must, given the state of affairs beyond my own persona, strive to the very best of my understanding, to the very best of my possibilities, to make due to the common what is from the common ground of us humans. As such, we must think about that in economics, management, leadership in organizations, politics, business, marketing, whatever area of life brings impact into me and into us all, and that puts in jeopardize or uplifts the future of our kids and all the kids and all the species and all the forms of life in this planet to come. So that's the take today. My dear friends, especially you, Julieta, once more here participating and engaging with the content and with the live and co-creating the live. I really hope you consider this idea of the manifesto, at least considering the idea. If you don't feel drawn to it, of course, discard it. I really think it's important to put things with a proper level of reverence and respect and responsibility in terms of thinking about our own life purpose. I really believe the times are the times of transition that really demand, for those who want to do so, the very best knowledgeable perspective onto life. And I really believe it's very easier to do so if we get added punch onto this type of thinking and interacting with life in all its realms. My dear friends and watchers, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening and weekend, and we'll go. I'll show you. I'll be here again. That's what I want to say. I'll be here again next week. Yes. Bye bye. See you there.